Hey, Shalom, Markins, Rakam, Makapashim, Jim, is London, giving all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, V'chach, V'dash. I want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the whole world expression is truth and all sincerity. Back again with another video. I got an article here from National World, right? And this is talking about some events that are going on in China at this moment in time, right? And it says Shanghai lockdown. It says, what is happening in China City? Rising CV cases, food shortages, and queue camps, right? China's going on a mad one at the moment, right? It says residents of Shanghai are now 4 weeks into a lockdown that was supposed to last 48 hours. All right. So yeah, it's going down right in China, Shanghai right now, right? And it says Shanghai residents has told National World that the situation in the city is apocalyptic, right? And always like when they use these types of words, man, because it's really indicative of what's happening right now. Everything that's happening is happening according to prophecy. So it's all apocalyptic, right? And I wanted to go into this word, right? Right. And now in this modern sense, it's used in here, right? It's apocalyptic, describing or prophesying the complete destruction of the world. It's like, right? And this is what we're living in right now. We are living in this apocalyptic world right now that's about to be destroyed. All right. So they liken it unto apocalyptic events. And like I say, it's just funny they use these terms, okay, when these types of things happen, right? Not knowing really that it is what's actually going on, according to prophecy, right? This is a momentous or catastrophic. This is or resembling the biblical apocalypse. Now, the term apocalypse just means revealing or uncovering, as it says here. You see here, origin, Greek, uncover, okay, revealing. That's where we get the apocrypha from. Was it hidden away, right? So it just means to uncover, man. Okay, to reveal. This is all right. Okay, so yeah, look at this, right? Look at the use over time for apocalyptic, right? Show you we're in a different time, man. Okay, we're in a time like no other time, man. These terms and these ideas of the end of the world is becoming more and more prevalent, right? It stops here at 2019. Yeah, we're in 2022 now, so it'd be interesting to see if it's gone up even more. But from the 1800s, man, the term wasn't really being used. Which shows you, man, things are worse now than they really ever have been. The end of the world is in sight. We're coming to the end of the world, right? It's the spirit that's out there, okay, that's kind of really got it out there plain to see. But people are stubborn and hard-headed and don't want to believe that the prophecies of the scriptures are true, okay, and that we are coming to the end of Esau's kingdom, the end of this world, okay, is about to be destroyed. They all want it to continue, but everything has its time, right? And the time is now, right? So I just wanted to get that quickly, right? Let's get back into here. This is many people in China's largest city have been ordered to stay in their flats and compounds as the country attempts to tackle the surging number of CV infections, right? Authorities in Shanghai, which is home to 26 million people, have said that they will start easing lockdown restrictions in some areas from Monday, 11th of April, which is yesterday, despite a record number of cases, right? Um, So with images circulating of unrest in the city and many people relying on infrequent services for their daily essentials, we take a look at what exactly is happening in Shanghai. All right, I'm gonna skip this part. So, first off, these men are locked down. And they can't go nowhere. Uh, Some have been taken to Q camps. Right, but the section I really wanted to get was this part on down, right? It says at the start it was fine. I could go outside at random times for 2 hours to go buy things. But as the cases started to rise in Shanghai, my side of the community got blocked off. The side entrance is completely boarded off. There are benches blocking the way. It looks like quite apocalyptic, as if they're trying to stop zombies or something, right? And that term apocalyptic, right? The main entrance is blocked by barriers. It's quite intimidating. When I first saw it, my building is now closed, so I can't leave to go outside at all. There's like a slight small footpath that I can stand on. That is it. All right. It says, why are there food shortages in Shanghai? Food delivery is a constant source of stress for people living in Shanghai. Residents locked inside compounds relying on delivery drivers to bring them food. However, deliveries can be infrequent and unpredictable due to high demand. Michelle, living east of the river in separate compound, told National World, I started to see a limited supply, but I was relaxed because I got my orders so early. But I started to see people panic buying. I had a meeting with work and it said all groceries are suspended. And I was so scared because that was the day after I found out our lockdown had been extended by 2 weeks and the supermarkets started to close down. Right? I'll get this in a second. Let me grab this first. This is 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouse shall suddenly be found empty, right? Or closed. Right? You're either gonna have places where they ain't got food, or they're gonna shut down, they're gonna, the supermarket or your market is gonna be closed, right? Because the grinding is low, so the supermarket has to shut down, it's shut up in the street. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 4. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grind is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Right? So things are closing down. Supply of food supply is limited. Right? It's not a good good sight, right? For you. Okay. So we ended up eating 1 or 2 meals a day as we only prepared for 48 hours initially. We weren't allowed to go out and buy anything because the hunger mentally was getting harder and harder, right? And this is what happens, man. When when you're hungry, right? Your mental faculties, man, start messing up, man, right? Your body's hurting, your stomach's hurting, your head's hurting, you can't think straight. You become hangry, as they put it, right? You become irate because your body is is going through withdrawal, right? Because it's not getting the food. I mean, because you can survive without food for quite a while. It's not a necessity, but at some point you're gonna need to eat, right? And you're gonna, because it's not your normal state to be in a hungered state. Okay, you become irate, right? And this is what's gonna drive people mad. It says then we had some government packages and they started to tide us through like vegetables, spam, noodles, etc. Right, that's them rations right there. And what do we keep telling you, man? Okay, this world is soon going to be living on rations, right? Because of this supply issue, right? And it's only going to get worse, right? So this is why, you know, the whole MOTB, the whole system, right? The whole system that's being created right now is going to, provide you this way to receive these rations, all right? Anyway, it says Michelle added, a friend told me she recommends people go online and JavaScript because it's impossible to order from the app. You have to be smashing the order button from 5:30 a.m. right? So them man, like, they're finding it difficult to get hold of stuff because there's so many people trying to use the damn app, trying to order things, Right, the situation has led to extortionate prices, with Michelle paying close to £78 for fruit, sugar, and some bread. So what did we say? This is the black horse at work. Okay, this is the black horse putting up the prices of stuff, man. Right, because it's creating the situation. Right, we said what's gonna happen when your bread, ain't a pound no more. A pound 20, 25 might be right at this moment in time, depending on where you are. Right, in England, right. What happens when it's like 10, 20, 30 pound, £100, £200? What happen? Like, what are you gonna do? Mentally, you're gonna bug out. Mentally, you're gonna be bugging out. But realistically, all you're gonna be able to get is fruit, sugar, and some bread, and that's gonna cost you a lot more than you even thought was imaginable, right? But it's gonna get worse than that, right? Revelation chapter 6, verse 5 says, when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I behold, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." Okay, the prices of your goods, right, is going to go out dramatically. Okay, to the point where you're not really going to be able to afford anything. All right, you ain't really going to be able to afford anything. All your money that you got, like, you got to imagine, this is not, your money doesn't only go on food. Okay, it goes on your heating, electricity. You are going to have hardly any money to get anything. Right, it's going to cost you a lot. Everything that you got just to get fruit, sugar, and bread. And this is why rationing is going to come into play. Because there's going to be an outcry. Of course there is. No one can eat. No one can afford to eat. Right? All this can't get access to food. Man are smashing order buttons on the app. That's all going to have to be controlled by the government. Right? Because obviously there's going to be an outcry. There's an outcry here. As you get into it more, right? They're going to have to take control of this whole situation. And they're going to, like, they dropped off some vegetables and noodles and shit. Right? They're going to have to do that. Right? They're going to have to actually control food supply. Right? It's not going to be independent. Okay, you're not going to be ordered off Uber for your groceries or whatever, man. You're going to be allocated whatever victuals that the country has, and you're going to get your portion. Right? You're gonna sign up to a thing, and that's how you're gonna you're gonna accept your mark, your karma, right? You're gonna accept all of that, and they're gonna give you some sort of limited access to some type of food and whatever, right? And so it's gonna go down eventually, because you ain't gonna be able to afford food, and you ain't gonna be able to get food. All right. Moving on, it's just however, the lack of food has also led to people blaming one another over the orders, right? So like I said, in this state of mind now, you're in hungered and you're not eating, or you're trying to eat, you can't get your hands on anything, man. You're gonna get pissed. People getting irate, and they're looking at one another like enemies now, because they're complaining. They think, oh, these motherfuckers across the road, they got food. Like, I ain't had food for 3 days. How do these guys got food? I'm ordering too. You know what I'm saying? And so that enmity in their mind, it starts to formulate. Okay, and then they start thinking, they start going dark mode. Their minds go to dark places, right? And violence ensues, man. Okay, violence ensues, right? It says there has been a lot of shame around eating, as food deliveries have been questioned whether they are necessary. It would just be basics and essential, but when there's a new case in our compound, everyone's pointing the blame, saying it's because you were greedy and it's because you ordered food. The food scarcity has also led to some neighbors stealing. Right, like I said, that enmity of mind now is plaguing them. Right, they're starting to turn on each other. Says the group chats have recently said that they see the elderly running out of their buildings and stealing food. So my friend sent me some onions and some other fruit the other day, and it got stolen straight away. But you can't be upset, as we're young and we can network, and they might not be able to. It's a real gamble to order food, right? So then we got even the elderly, uh, right there jacking the food, right? Um, what do I want to do? I'll come back to this section, right? But I want to get this first. It's from Second Esdras chapter 15. I'm going to start from verse 5. Well, get 5 and jump on down. Actually, read from the top, right? So, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, right? So, tying into that word apocalyptic that they were using, that's the kind of the understanding of it is. They're speaking about biblical, prophetic destruction that's occurring. Okay, not to say that's what they believe in, but they use these terms because they know, well, in the spirit they're using these words, man, because realistically, that's what's really going on. They use these terms willy-nilly in their own minds. They see obviously the judgments in the scriptures something to be comparable to. Like this is some sort of judgment, which it is. But they don't really believe that the Most High is judging. They don't think that in that way. But anyway, this is which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. And this is what we got in our hands today, right? For not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, right? Because no one wants to believe that this is the end, that the words of these scriptures are true, that that the world's coming to. They don't want to believe that, right? It says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction, right? And this is the time we're in and heading into, right? Sword, there's war, right? There's famine on the horizon. These people are struggling to get food. It's only going to get worse, right? Death and destruction. Right? All these things are coming upon the earth right now. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So let me jump down to verse 14, and you're going to hear a resemblance of what's going on there in Shanghai right now. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Right? So people are going to rise up against one another, and there's going to be civil unrest. Right? Against one another, against the government. Right? It's going to become very chaotic and unruly. Right? A man should desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Right? Them under lockdown right now. Okay, it was supposed to be 48 hours, and now it's been like 4 weeks. So like I said, we've experienced this over the last couple of years with these different lockdowns and stuff. So, these are becoming more frequent and becoming more normalized, right? So, in the time to come, they'll just do the same thing. They'll lock it down, right? Verse 18: for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Right, so it's funny. It started off with the elderly stealing the food, but when it gets real bad, right, this is what's going to go down, right? So a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, no mercy. Right, you're going to feel sorry for you. You don't care that that you need to feed your family, right? They ain't going to care about that because as far as they're concerned, they got family too, or they need to get fed too. Like, you're not better than me. All this equality shit is going to go out the window, man, real quick. Right? They're gonna put themselves above everybody else, right? They don't care about your situation. Only their situation matters, right? It says a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Okay, they're gonna ransack houses, right? And spoil their goods still, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation, right? And like I said, this is what you're kind of starting to see here in Shanghai that's happening at the moment. So yeah, it is prophetic, right? It is prophecies coming to pass. All right. Is it says, what are the Q camps? When people test, uh, you know, affirmative right, for the CV in Shanghai, what happens next can be terrifying. Right, you got a little image here. Mad. Anyway, Zach said, I haven't been personally, but there's a lot of first-hand footage. But you get taken by a bus from your community and are escorted out. They escort you out or take you to a bus depending on where you live, and you go to a certain center. When you arrive, you have to register your IDs. Right. The room themselves are around 1,000 people in just one huge room, separated into cubicles of 2 people per cubicle. There's no shower facilities. You wash in a sink with a towel. The hygiene is terrible. We're more scared of getting the CV because we'd have to go there than actually the effects of the V itself. There's nothing you can do. We know of people who've been in some kind of central queue for like 3 months. Let's stop there. And apparently they aren't tested very often, so they may not be leaving as soon as they can. A lot of fights break out. A lot of kind of like stampedes. It's terrifying to watch. Okay, like I said, people are going to be start turning, cold and crazy, right? So many people are suffering from a lack of emergency services in the city, which many departments overrun. And I don't need to read the rest of that. All right, this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 12. It says, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. All right, people are not going to be the same soon, man. The facade that they've put on their whole lives, okay, is going to disappear, right? And you're going to see the innards of a man. Okay, you're gonna see people's integrity crumble away and become the beast that's inside of them, man. Okay, the wickedness is gonna, exalt itself in these people. So that's what's going on in Shanghai right now, and really these are signs of things to come. Right, these are signs of things to come. And this is from the Guardian here in the UK, talking about civil unrest, right? Because of the energy prices and whatever, right? It says civil unrest due to rising energy bills isn't far away, says Martin Lewis, okay, which is this guy here, right? So even here, this guy is predicting civil unrest. He said it ain't far away. Like what we've been saying this whole time. Coming out of the scriptures, man, that all this is going to collapse and there's going to be anarchy, there's going to be chaos. Right? All these things are going to happen. Famine, death, destruction. It's all coming. Okay, it's unavoidable. All right? It's unavoidable, man. This is So Britain's self-titled money-saving expert Martin Lewis has warned that civil unrest over rising energy bills isn't far away, as he repeated his call for more government intervention to protect people. Lewis said he was the most scared he has been for people's finances since he founded his popular website in 2003. Things are getting worse. Things are not getting better, right? It's traditionally offered advice on which bank, blah, 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 blah. It's not that important. However, after the recent increase in the price cap for household energy bills to 1,971, right? So they brought up the price cap, right? It took the step of publishing a Heat the Human guide for people on how to keep themselves and their homes warm as they face a choice between heating and putting food on the table. So, like I said, with the increasing prices and the devaluing of the pound, the dollars, and all these types of things, the currencies of the world, right? Things are going to become unaffordable, right? Not only are they going to be limited in supply, it's going to become unaffordable for whatever supply can be got. And it's not just food and things you got to pay for. There's other things you got to pay for. People's mortgages are going to go up. You know what I mean? People's fuel, petrol and diesel is going up. Like, you're going to be left with very little, man. And you're going to have to make some serious choices, man. Whether or not you heat your house and things like that, or whether you take the car, or whether you get the food, you're going to have to lose things, man. right? And it's going to cause problems, big problems in society, man. Like I said, there's going to be an outrage, right? And civil unrest, okay? Which at that point, when it gets to that point, the government is going to come and take control. That's what'll happen, man. Okay, eventually, right? Um, it includes steps like putting hot water bottles in sleeping bags. This is one of the richest countries in the world. It's pretty desperate, isn't it? So how can one of the richest countries how comes they're having to do all of this? Same with America, which is supposedly the richest country, right? They're gonna have to be doing some crazy shit, man, just to survive. And you know, everybody. And I'm not even talking about just the poor, because they've been doing stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's gonna be doing this. It's gonna get real bad. Um, in an interview with the Sunday Telegraph, he said, "We need to keep people fed. We need to keep them warm. If we get this wrong right now, then we get to the point where we start to risk civil unrest." Yeah. Okay, it's all on the cards. It's all in the prophecies. It's due to happen, right? When breadwinners cannot provide, anger brews and civil unrest brews. And I do not think we are very far off. I get all these messages from people tearing their hair out. They don't know how to make things add up. Right? They're getting vexed, frustrated. All right. It echoes his comments to The Guardian in an interview in March when he said that inflation and rising house costs could plunge more people into absolute poverty. All right. As I say, these are the signs of the apocalypse, man. Okay, and they won't be turned away. Then it's not gonna ease up. All right. This is Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble. There shall be a time of trouble. Not there might be, right? There will be. There will be a time of trouble, man. And we're going into that right now. Right? It says, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Okay, so we're not sweating, all this craziness that's happening. Obviously it's going to affect us somewhat, you know, but the Lord is going to take care of his elect. All right, the scriptures say you have care for his elect, right? So we're not sweating all this doom and gloom that's happening. Okay, quite the opposite. Okay, we welcome it. We embrace it. Because we want to see the downfall of this kingdom, right? So this is why we keep an eye on it. So we know what the hell's going on, man. It's you people in the world that are trying to bury your head in the sand, that acting like these prophecies ain't coming to pass. You acting like these prophecies are not true. They ain't gonna end with your destruction. No, that's exactly where it's going. Right? There's gonna be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation. Okay, this time is gonna be terrible. Right? And this is the generation that it's gonna happen in, and this is the generation that's gonna have to face that. All right, all 8 billion of you, or however many there's supposed to be on the planet right now. Right? You're here to face all of this as judgment. All right. This is 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. We'll end it with this. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. Okay, like I said, we're meant to be paying attention to what's going on. Okay, lining things up with what's written here in the prophecies, man. And this is why we know. Like I say, he knows he knows that there's going to be this civil unrest is not far off. Okay, but he doesn't know it in regards with the scriptures. He don't know what that really ultimately means. Right? People know little bits and pieces of what's going on because they pay attention to certain things, man. But with the understanding of these scriptures, man, you know exactly what's going on, right? And we measure the time, measure the time. Okay, so we're watching for these prophecies to come to pass. Okay, that Martin Luther guy, he ain't watching for the prophecies to come to pass. He's just watching, what's happening socially and economically. He's just watching for those things. Historical references. He knows that when prices are too high and food supply is low and that kind of stuff, people become, uneasy, man, and get vexed, But from a prophetic point of view, okay, we know we're in the end times. Okay, these are all the signs that we're meant to be watching for, right? And when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time. It is this time, this generation, right, wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made, right? Meaning it's time for judgment, right? Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, okay, the people are very uneasy right now, all across the globe. Okay, there's been riots, there's been protests, and there's been all kinds of public displays of frustration, right? And like I said, it's going to become something more than just frustration, right? It's going to turn into action, kinetic action, right? That's what it's going to turn into. And these people are going to go buck wild because they're in a situation they've never been in before, man, and they're hurting. They're hungry, they're fed up, they've been abused, treated badly. You know what I mean? So people are going to start not listening and taking power in their own hands. Okay, they're not going to be relying on the government. They might still do what they do to a certain degree. If like I say, when they'll bring out the MOTB and that, they're going to conform and think, yeah, this is going to end all of that. But initially, they're going to come up against the governments and the peoples, and yeah, it's just going to be anarchy, chaos. Okay, which is all part and parcel of the prophecy, right? So when there should be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. All right, the end is manifested right before us, man. Okay, and we see where it leads. We know where it leads. Okay, it's just a like we say, like a waiting game. We're waiting to get to the end of this thing. But these are the signs that we're meant to be paying attention to, man, and linking up with the scriptures, man, linking up with the prophecies, so we have understanding. And the scriptures say, knowledge and understanding shall be distributed at thy times. So it's important that we pay attention and keep tabs on what's going on, right? Because all this is it builds our faith, man. Because they say it's according to what we know, according to what we believe to happen, right? So this is just all builds us up, man. But it's breaking down everybody else. Okay, so we're gonna be strong in that day, Lord willing. If we are the elect, we're gonna be strong in that day. Okay, but the rest of the world, they're gonna be weak. All right. But anyway, with that, I hope this is edifying, and I'm gonna say shalom, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video. Until next time, I say shalom.